What's up guys, and welcome to this video where we will be discussing the new changes given to Kano with the new patch that just got released. Now for those of you that don't follow MK11 competitively, Kano is considered arguably the worst character in the game. He's down there as bottom 2 along with Kotal Khan, and it's been pretty much this way since the vanilla launch of the game for the past 6 months. NRS has taken a look at Kano and addressed some of his issues and giving him some help in this patch. So let's take a look at what they gave Kano for this version. So Kano has access to a new variation called Rat Bag, which gives him this mid-projectile attack, which got a damage buff. It used to do 6%, and now it does 8% on hit, which is nice. On Crushing Blow, it does triple the amount of damage, which is really good, and it triggers if the opponent's hit on counter hit or punish. So if they're trying to mash after a string or something, you do this, you hit them, you're going to get a decent chunk of damage. It also does 2% chip damage on block, which is not bad. And because it's a mid, it's going to give him better zoning in some matchups. It's going to make it so some characters have to actually go to Kano and play his game, because his other two variations have a high projectile. So this is not too bad of a move. The second move he gets is a move called Snake Bite. And this is a mid to overhead attack, unsafe on block. You amplify it, it launches in for a combo. And what's cool is if you do this in a combo, you can also use it as a combo ender, and it will leave your opponent right next to you on knockdown, which will give Kano some decent Oki, and he can go for another option to mix up to try and net more damage depending on what they do on knockdown. Now, one of the things that make Kano not a very strong character in Mortal Kombat 11 is he lacked any good mids, and his offense pretty much consisted of just down one, or throw, because he didn't have any good mids to check people with. And if you played his first variation, his mix-ups were pretty much down one canceled into his command throw, or down one into cannonball. And that was pretty much the scope of Kano up close. Just consistent down one into throw. Now, they gave him two buffs, one being a back one, which is now a 10 frame mid. Which means now when you hit your opponent with a down one, you can visually see it hit and then go for back one. And they're not going to be able to jump out or mash buttons or mash fatal blow, because now that the back one's 10 frames, it's going to be easy way to hit them and get them off you. And this move actually complements Kano's Rat Bag variation, because him having a mid projectile, and for the reason that some characters have to go to him now, him having a good fast 10 frame mid keep out move like this is not bad to have, and it's -6 on block, which makes it completely safe and not punishable. What I think is the best buff that they gave him is his forward 1. They made his forward 1 a mid, and if you notice, this move has a lot of range. It hits from about sweep distance. And it has two different follow-ups, as forward 1-2 and forward 2 back 2. The best part is this alone is +1 on block. So now you have this 13 frame advancing mid that hits from sweep distance, and if your opponent blocks it, you're +1. So when your opponent blocks it, now you can go for a quick throw. You can immediately check them with a down one as a frame trap. So you can do stuff off that. And they also buffed the follow-up to it, forward 1-2. They made it 2 frames faster. And the reason they did that is, I'll put myself to be as Cassie here. So before, you were able to block this and then go to ducking and then, you know, punish Kano because the second hit's a high. Now, because the second hit's faster, in combination with the block stun, if you get caught stand blocking the first forward 1, you're jailed into the second part. You can't avoid the second part. As you can see, I'm trying to neutral duck after blocking the first part, knowing that the second part of the string is a high. You can't do that anymore. So now, if Kano catches you with his advancing forward 1 mid, you're going to be forced to block the second part. They also made the second part do damage on hit. Before it used to do 0. Now it does 2% on hit and it does some chip damage. Whereas before it did 0 on hit and it did no chip damage. The cool thing is, if you block the entire string, he's actually plus on block. He's +2 on block. So when you block the entire string, he gets to again enforce a strike throw mix up just like he can off his forward 1 stagger. And another property to keep note of is, for whatever reason, Kano, even though you interrupt his second part with a down 2 and it's a high, it doesn't count as a crushing blow, even though the rules of the game for down 2 crushing blows is if you whiff punish a high with a down 2, You activate Crushing Blow. So Kano's 4-1-2. The second hit does not follow those rules. It's immune to those rules. That's another thing to keep note of when you're using that string. Now the reason why I like this buff the most is 4-1. Is not only because it's a good stagger that you're able to do to check people in, but now when you hit people with a down one, you can also opt to go for 4-1. And whether that hits or they block it, just a 4-1 stagger, because you're plus on hit and block, you can continue to go for offense afterwards. And if you read your opponent doing something like, let's say, before in neutral, your opponent would like mash pokes, Kano didn't have a fast make to like check them with. Now, if you read your opponent just doing a bunch of pokes, you can whiff punish him and do something like that. Use your 4-1 into the string, and then get a combo punish for reading that your opponent is just mashing pokes on you in the footsie game. So that's pretty good to have. Like I said, Kano did not have any of these options before. I think these buffs are pretty important. I think they definitely move Kano up. I can see Kano moving up from worst in the game to at least mid tier. I think he's going to be a lot better this version, especially with some of the slight nerfs that the top tiers have received, like Liu Kang and such. This version, I can see Kano doing much better this patch than he did previously in any version of the game. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the rest of my videos coming on the rest of the cast.